Hello there, and welcome to Grounded Health and Wellness. My name is Kate, and today I just wanted to give you a little video on why yoga is one of the most profound methods to deal with any kind of trauma that you may be dealing with in your life. Now, I am not a trauma-informed yoga instructor, but I have had several hours of training on the subject, so I have a little bit of knowledge to be able to speak to this specifically with yoga. But from an over kind of arching approach, when we're dealing with trauma, yoga seems to be the best modality and the most accessible modality for most people. So before we kind of dive into that, I do want to state that trauma really occurs on a scale. It can be as severe as physical trauma to the body, like forms of abuse. It can be emotional. It can be past ancestral trauma that has happened to relatives that you are carrying forward in your own life. So there really is this wide range when we're talking about trauma. But the beautiful thing about yoga is we're really working with the nervous system. And that is critical when we're dealing with looking at or managing any form of healing trauma. So, one of the first things my yoga teacher taught me was if you do anything as an instructor, the greatest success as a yoga teacher is being able to get people out of their heads and into their bodies. And this is so important when we're talking about healing or dealing with trauma because it's a lot of the time this disconnection between the mind and body where we get trapped in these cycles or trauma bonds and things like that. So, yoga gives us that ability to really kind of pause, go inward, and there is this concept called interoception. And this is basically bringing your awareness into feeling the body. So sometimes you might be guided in a yoga class and be asked to maybe feel the belly rising and falling as you're breathing. Or perhaps drawing your attention to particular areas of the body, maybe fingertips and toes, or the way that your body feels in connection onto the mat or the props or the floor beneath you. This is working with this dropping into the body. The more and more we practice this, it really helps us get into ourselves and helps kind of um, tonify or heal those parts of us that are trapped in these trauma responses. By toning the nervous system, we then have a gentler or a more balanced approach to stressors or triggers that may reactivate those traumas for us. So, yoga can be something that involves physical movement. We can focus strictly on breath work. It can also dapple in the world of meditation. All of these different kind of facets of yoga practice are just as important and relative in order to deal with trauma. So, as you continue to come to your mat or practice these particular modalities, we work with tonifying the nervous system. And when we get out of this state of fight or flight and come into this place of the parasympathetic, so this rest and digest, by default, those old patterns that are kind of, if you want to think of it, kind of tightly networked with trauma, anxiety, PTSD, all the like, we start to slowly kind of loosen those bonds and are able to really connect and feel what we are feeling in the body. Now, I would always recommend if you are dealing with any form of trauma work that you find a very trusted therapist. I have been working with one for over 2 decades who is wonderful. And you really kind of, as things bubble up for you, perhaps when you are exploring yoga practice and dealing with trauma, it's helpful to have a supportive system in place where you can work through these things as they do come to the surface, because it can be a little jarring for all of us if we are unlocking areas of ourselves or loosening, breaking those bonds that I was talking about, and not really having a place to channel or deal with them. So, yoga is by far the best, in my opinion, as far as tackling this, because you can take it at your own pace. You can, some people choose other forms of exercise like running and things that are a little bit more uh, physically demanding on the body, and they find that that's very helpful because you're releasing all of those endorphins when the body gets into that particular state. So the thing about yoga is you can basically practice as intense as you'd like or as soft as you'd like, and finding your way into those particular pathways. And that may even vary from day to day, week to week. You may find that you need a more vigorous practice in order to work through something, where other weeks you're, quite happy with maybe taking a slow restorative or yin practice and really kind of marinating in whatever it is that you're working on. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Please look into yoga practice if you are looking to manage any form of past, current, ongoing trauma in your life. It has been incredibly helpful for me as an abuse survivor, and I really think that this will be helpful for you. So until next time, see you later.